Hi, my name is Alessandro Gangelosi, and that's another new tip tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Modo Cookie. This time we'll talk about the preview viewport renderer inside Modo, and it's a very useful feature. We can work with a rendered viewport inside the software, and everything will be rendered in an interactive way. The preview viewport use the rendering engine, the standard rendering engine coming from Luxology, but using a progressive refinement algorithm. So you can see the changes and all you are doing inside the scene, um, inside the rendered image, and everything will react in real time. Uh, the uh, the thread of the viewport is uh, developed to allow the user to work inside the software and the other viewport without speed problems. So the preview will be under the model thread, so the user has no problem to interact with the other features. In the preview viewport, we can change geometry, we can model geometry, we can work on the materials, work on the textures, change the position of the camera, working with the lights and everything we need. And we can change also the settings of the rendering engine, so you can achieve and work on the look development of the final image in a very artistic way, and it will be a complete speed up to the normal pipeline. In everything, in all the other software we know, there's no interactive refinement, so we have to work in the viewport in wireframe, or maybe using an advanced OpenGL system, but we have to render some time to check the lights and the shaders and all the other features to understand if the final image will work or not. And it's a very slow workflow because we have to lose seconds or minutes to work on the final look, and all this thing can be done in real time using the preview viewport inside Modo. We saw the preview viewports in the past tutorials using the render layout, and you see that we can find there a preview viewport that will react in real time. So I can change everything and it is changing in real time, but I can also move for example an item, so I can select this water, this glass, and for example I can move it, and you can see that it's rendered in real time inside the preview viewport. Okay, and we saw the preview viewport also in the material editor. So you see that we have all the feature we need to work on the shaders and textures, etc., etc. But we have also the preview viewport, so we can understand if the final look of the image is right or not. And you see that I'm changing uh, the the orientation of the camera in real time. uh, and we can also scale it to be faster. So you see that's a way to be faster than previous. Okay, and we have to say that there's another way to call um, the preview viewport, so you can use it also when you are working on the another layout, and you can use the function key number 8 to call it. So I press the F8, and you see that we have this preview viewport in our scene, and that's very useful because we can continue working on the scene without problem. So you see that I can select this one and I can move it or scale it, and everything will be changed in real time. So you see how it looks, and then we can also move the scene to check it. And that's a very useful way to work on the scene side model. Now we can check the other feature coming from the preview viewport to understand how we can use it and how it can speed up our work. So let's talk about all the options we have inside the preview viewport. And we can find the first menu is the type, and we can decide between auto, clips, on shaders. And when we set to shaders, the preview renderer will work on the entire scene and will evaluate all the parameters and all the texture inside the scene and all the shaders. When we set to clips, it will work just on the texture or the map we choose, and we can set also to auto, so the preview can decide what it needs to work on when we work inside the viewport. Then we can find the option, and we have the possibility to choose between the scene preview, so we can see the scene inside the preview, or we can decide to see a sphere, a plane, or a teapot. A teapot, and it will be useful to check texture or shaders or something like that. Then we can go back to scene preview. Then we have the possibility to decide between all layers or up to current layer, and this will be very useful when we work inside the material editor. Let's choose, for example, uh, just the layer. Let's go inside the render. Let's go there. And for example, that's the possibility to select just this item, and we can work just on the texture, or maybe we can choose to work just on a part of the rendering, and that will be useful just in some cases. And let's go back to our default value. Then we have the possibility to use some feature coming from the rendering engine or not. So you see the shadows, we can remove the shadows. You see that there will be no shadows at the end of the rendering, so it will be faster to be calculated, but it's less precise. You can see that it's very fast, but we have no shadows inside the scene. Then we have the possibility to remove the global illumination, and it depends if we set the GI to on inside the rendering engine setup there in the properties. So we can go inside global illumination, and if we are using it, we can remove it inside the preview rendering. Then we have the possibility to remove the reflection. So you see we have no more reflection inside the scene. And we can remove also the refraction, and you see that now we have nothing more, so we can decide to add again the reflection. So you see we have reflection, but we have no refraction inside the preview viewport. Let's go back to refraction. Then we have the possibility to add or remove the displacement, and we can find it's useful when we have some displacement on some surface, and we can remove it or not. So to test it, we can load another scene, this one. Let's press the F8, and you see that we have the displacement to create the C surface. I can go there and I can say no displacement, and you see that we have just a very simple surface, and it's very fast to be rendered. Then I can go there, back again, I can say displace, and it is working on the displacement layer. And we have the draft layer, the draft quality for the displacement. So in the preview viewport, it is working on less polygons, so it will be less precise, but we can choose to remove the draft quality, and it will work on a complete polygon set for the displaced surface, and you can see that it is going very slow to prepare the final mesh, and you see that now we have the mesh, and it is slower than before, but we can work on the final displacement map inside the preview viewport. So there's it will be very useful to achieve the best result in the final image. Let's go back to the option, and let's go maybe to a simpler without the final displacement, and let's go with no displacement, so it will be very fast to be tested. Let's go back inside the option, and we see that we have the automatic geometry updates. So we are telling to the preview viewport to taking account to all the changes we are making to the geometry. If we remove this this option, there will be no update for the geometry changes. So you can work on the scene changing the actual geometry, but you cannot change the polygon structure of the geometry. And then we have the extended refinement paths. This option tells is telling to the preview viewport to continue working on the rendering also when all the pixels are rendered. So all the additional calculation will be useful to work on the anti-alias and to achieve a better result. Obviously, it will be faster to remove the extended refinement, so there will be no work on the anti-alias, and everything will be faster than before. Then we have the use multiple thread, and we are saying to the preview viewport to use all the processors and all the core we have inside our workstation. So that's the main purpose for the preview viewport, so it can be very fast. And we have also the usual thread option. Using the usual thread option, we are saying to Modo to use all the core and all the processor we have inside the workstation, so it will be faster to work, to interact inside the preview viewport. But we have less speed inside the other viewport and feature inside Modo. So the best way is to remove the use all thread, so we can work interactively inside the preview viewport, and we can continue to work inside Modo with no problem. Then we have the possibility to show all the visible items, so the entire scene or the selected. So we can work with just this mesh, and that's all. Same like this. We can go there, and you see that we have just the sphere. And let's go to all the item. Okay, let's go back there, and we have other option and the reset view. So we restart the rendering from 0. We have the save view to save in an image the rendering, the progressive rendering, and we have the pause view, so we can stop the calculation. Let's try adding the displacement. Okay, and you see that we have the pause. You see that there's pause inside the viewport, and I can't interact with it, so I have to remove the pause and work again inside the viewport. Let's see other information. We have the trackball rotation, and so you can use the middle mouse button to work button. Let's remove the displacement to work inside the scene. It is going very slow, but you can interact using just the mouse button and move the button, the mouse. And then we have the possibility to record the movie of our interaction inside the preview viewport. Then we have the possibility to select directly the layers inside the preview viewport. So you see that I'm pressing the right mouse button there, and I have the possibility to select the alpha output, the final color output, the base shader, and all the other shader inside model to work directly inside it. And that's a very fast way to work. You see that I'm interacting inside there, and the selection will be set in the shader tree layers, and that's a very fast way to interact with the scene. You see that there we have the list of all the layer, so we can decide to see the alpha, for example, directly. So you see the alpha, or you can see the final color, or you can see just the bump, or for example just the diffuse amount. So I'm checking all the layers just using a selection of the layer I'd like to use, or maybe you can choose for shading, and we have the entire scene rendered. Then we have the possibility to pause or reset also using this button, and we have the possibility to choose the camera to work on inside the preview viewport. So you saw how it can be fast to work using the preview viewports inside Modo during the modeling or maybe the look development, working on the shaders or the lighting or whatever else. And it's a very fast way. You can choose to use the preview viewport, or maybe you can choose to work directly inside the render layout, so you can work in the scene and you can see the preview there inside this little preview render viewport. So for this tutorial, tip tutorial, it's all. I hope you can use the preview viewport in your project to be faster and to have a better workflow. I hope to see you again on a next and future tutorial or tip tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Modo Cookie. Thanks.